What if, like, the ultimate sign that an online course isn't a scam is that it actually refuses to promise you a job?
Oh, that's a wild thought.
Right. But today we are taking a deep dive into an online community that um, charges you $50 a month to essentially tell you that your writing isn't good enough
Yeah.
and that nobody is going to hand you a client.
Which is pretty rare to see.
It really is. It's like a complete reversal of that usual digital dream you see on your feed.
Yeah.
You know, the person sitting on a beach, sipping some glowing tropical drink, claiming they made $10,000 this month just writing a few emails.
Yeah, I mean, the modern creator economy is completely flooded with those exact promises.
Oh, totally flooded.
And distinguishing between, a finely tuned hype machine that's just designed to empty your wallet and a genuine educational community is incredibly difficult.
Because they look the same.
Exactly. The marketing for both often looks identical from the outside. I mean, both use testimonials, both promise you a better life.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because our source material today cuts right through that marketing layer. We are looking at a detailed, unfiltered review from a user who spent 2 months inside the premium tier of a Skool community called Copywriting Launchpad.
Right. And Skool is basically a platform that combines a classroom for video courses with a social feed.
Yeah, it's kind of like a highly focused educational Facebook group.
That's a good way to describe it.
So our mission for this deep dive is to look at the actual mechanics of this program, answer the ultimate question of whether it's a scam, and uncover the universal principles of what it actually takes to build a sustainable freelance business.
Because that applies to so many people.
Exactly. Whether you are a budding copywriter, a freelancer in a totally different field, or just someone curious about how online skills are monetized behind closed doors, this breakdown reveals the anatomy of a functional online community.
And the reviewer's perspective here is so valuable because they went in with intense skepticism.
They really did.
They wanted to know if this was just another digital marketing trap, like those endless funnels where the initial cheap product is completely useless.
Oh, I hate those.
Right. And it just exists to push you toward buying some massive $5,000 upsell. Or conversely, if this was a real training ground.
And they give us their verdict right out of the gate. I mean,
Yeah.
after 2 months of paying their own money, watching the coaching, using the courses, the reviewer states flat out that Copywriting Launchpad is not a scam.
But they immediately follow that up by saying it is absolutely not a shortcut.
Yet no magic beans here.
Yeah.
The community makes it painstakingly clear that you are going to have to practice, you're going to have to do cold outreach, you'll deal with slow replies, and honestly, you will face a mountain of rejection.
Which is the very antithesis of how scams usually operate.
Right.
This raises an important question, right? A true scam preys on the desire for an easy out. It sells the result while actively hiding the labor required to get there.
It's like those fitness infomercials.
Yes. Perfect analogy.
They promise you six-pack abs in 5 minutes without sweating.
Exactly. And Launchpad's value proposition isn't about bypassing the work entirely. It's providing a space to get better faster. The reviewer highlights this critical psychological shift that happens when you join, where you just have to accept that getting your reps in is absolutely required to succeed.
Okay, but let me push back on that for a second. I can get yelled at for free on Twitter,
Very true.
and I can watch 1,000 YouTube tutorials on cold outreach for $0. If they aren't handing me a list of clients or offering a magic shortcut, why on earth would someone pay $50 a month just to be told they have to go out and face rejection anyway?
Well, because raw rejection without feedback is just demoralizing. You're paying for an environment that forces you to confront the reality of the work, but equips you to handle it better than you would on your own.
So it's about the feedback loop.
Exactly. It's the difference between wandering around a forest hoping you get stronger and stepping into a structured gym. The weights are still heavy and you still have to lift them, but the environment is engineered to make you grow faster and avoid injury.
Ah, I like that. So if the community isn't handing out clients on a silver platter, they must be providing a very specific type of tool to help members go out and get those clients themselves.
They are.
Let's look under the hood at the actual mechanics of this $50 a month premium tier.
So $50 a month unlocks the paid course library, new monthly training, which could be like courses, workshops, or guest lectures, and most importantly, unlimited call-free or asynchronous coaching inside the community.
Asynchronous coaching. I love this concept. The reviewer notes how frustrating standard live group coaching calls can be.
Oh, they can be awful.
Right. You have to battle massive time zone differences. You wake up at some ungodly hour. You wait in a Zoom room behind 10 other people. And when it's finally your turn, you get a rushed, unrecorded 5-minute answer because the coach just has to move on.
It's an incredibly inefficient way to learn, especially for a global community. Dominant personalities take up all the oxygen on live calls, and the advice evaporates the second the call ends.
Yeah, it's just gone.
But the structural brilliance of asynchronous coaching entirely removes that friction.
It's like having a mentor in your pocket instead of waiting in line at office hours.
That's a great way to look at it. When a member hits a wall, whether it's a draft they're struggling with, a problem with an offer, or a question about a client, they just post it in the community.
And wait for a response.
Exactly. And the response time is typically within minutes or hours and a day at the absolute most. And because it is written down, the cognitive load of trying to remember the advice is completely gone.
So you can actually save it.
Yes, the copywriter can save that written feedback, reread it, deeply process it, and apply it directly to their work.
And we should mention who is actually giving this advice. It's Nabeel Azeez, one of the co-owners.
Right.
The stats the reviewer provided for him are wild. He's got about 10 years of experience as a copywriter. He's generated over $10 million for his clients and over $1 million in personal income from his own freelance work.
Which is serious credibility. And the reviewer explicitly points out that this structure allows you to access a highly experienced brain for just $50 a month.
Instead of thousands.
Right. You aren't paying $5,000 for unlimited private one-on-one access. You are sharing his attention.
But structurally, getting his standards applied to your specific problems inside a public forum is efficient.
Highly efficient. Because you also get to read his answers to everyone else's problem.
Okay, the mechanics make sense. Written feedback is great. But, I mean, efficiency doesn't mean much if the advice itself is fluffy, right? Like if it's just good job, keep trying.
Oh, it is definitely not fluffy.
So what is the actual style and substance of this coaching?
The culture inside this community is highly direct. It is extremely blunt. There is no gentle hand-holding or soft praise for mediocre drafts.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because building a community around that kind of intense teardown serves as a massive filter.
It does.
But isn't there a risk of alienating beginners with that kind of tough love? I mean, if your business model relies on recurring subscriptions, why build a culture around bluntness rather than emotional support?
Because it perfectly mirrors the reality of the market.
How so?
Clients do not care about a freelancer's feelings. They care about conversions. They care about results. If an educational community shields you from direct critique, it is fundamentally failing to prepare you for actual client work.
That is a harsh truth.
It is. Nabeel's philosophy is that a successful copywriter actually needs two distinct skills. There's the skill of copywriting, and then there's the business of copywriting.
The business of copywriting.
Right. The tough love ensures members learn about things like compliance, creative strategy, and client acquisition. It's not just about writing a catchy hook.
And the reviewer brought up a specific pain point that highlights this perfectly. The every month starts at zero problem.
Oh, that is the worst feeling for freelancers.
Every freelancer knows the anxiety of Sunday night.
Mm-hmm.
You landed a project, you finished it, you got paid, and boom, you're basically unemployed again.
You are constantly chasing one-off low-paying gigs.
Yeah, it's exhausting. So the community aims to teach business thinking to overcome this.
Exactly. They teach members to win better clients and structure retainers so they become a business partner rather than just an order taker. That stabilizes their income.
And that context makes the focus on global copywriters really interesting. The sources mention that Nabeel specifically builds resources keeping copywriters from the global south in mind.
Which is a crucial detail.
Yeah, because if you're starting out in a country where the currency exchange rate is a massive hurdle, or you don't have a pre-built networking circle in some US-centric marketing bubble, you just can't afford to be a basic word processor.
The margin for error is significantly smaller. When you lack those inherent systemic advantages, your grasp of business fundamentals has to be flawless.
Which requires high standards.
Yeah. And rigorous, blunt coaching to get you there.
Okay, so a curriculum that shifts you from an order taker to a business partner, and it's tailored for a global audience. Sounds great in theory, but we have to look at the empirical evidence.
Always.
Does this intense, no hand-holding environment actually produce tangible wins for the members,
It does, and they actually track this publicly in a wins category in the Skool community.
which is so much better than vague hype.
Oh, absolutely. It provides real, verifiable metrics.
The reviewer highlighted a specific win from a member named Jeevan, and the stats here are wild.
Let's hear them.
So Jeevan wrote a static ad for a dental teeth whitening brand, and this ad stayed at the #1 spot in the client's ad account for 13 days straight.
That is huge.
Right. The exact stats were 2,739 pounds spent on the ad, 228 purchases generated, and a 2.52x return on ad spend, or ROAS.
That level of detail is amazing, and providing that data is essential for a real learning environment.
And to make it even more competitive, they host a weekly engagement competition, right?
Yeah, free members who engage can actually win a complimentary premium membership, and premium members can win a VIP membership.
Rewarding people for actually contributing. But, okay, let me play devil's advocate for a second.
Go for it.
Even with these great stats from Jeevan, the reviewer admits they still have to do the grueling work of cold outreach. They still have to send endless emails trying to get businesses to hire them.
Yep, the hustle is real.
If I am paying $50 a month, shouldn't the community at least provide warm leads?
What's fascinating here is that refusing to provide leads is actually a feature, not a bug.
Really? How?
It forces members to learn client acquisition themselves. Like you said, if nobody knows you exist, nobody can hire you.
So they don't want you dependent on them.
Exactly. A fake guarantee is incredibly easy to sell, but it's dishonest. Launchpad's refusal to offer one builds trust because it forces you to become self-reliant.
Which means this no guarantee hard work required reality is absolutely not for everyone.
Definitely not.
So how does a prospective member navigate the tiers and decide if it's right for them?
Well, there are 3 tiers: free, premium, and VIP. The free tier is basically a preview.
You get limited coaching, right?
Right, it's just to check the culture. Then premium, at $50 a month, unlocks the courses and the unlimited asynchronous coaching.
And then VIP is the heavy hitter.
Yeah, VIP adds WhatsApp access, monthly one-on-one calls, and in-person events. And that one comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee.
The reviewer's strategy for all this was brilliant. They said don't overthink it. Join free to check the culture, read the WANs, and if it fits, try premium for 30 days with a specific goal in mind.
Like fixing your outreach.
Exactly. And cancel any time if you aren't going to do the work.
It makes total sense.
So what does this all mean? Synthesizing the reviewer's final stance. This is a real training room. If you stay silent and do nothing, nothing happens. But if you show up, it's a launchpad.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's really a masterclass in product structuring. They let you taste the culture for free, give you the operational engine at a highly accessible $50, and reserve the heavy lifting mentorship for the VIPs.
It's honestly refreshing. So to wrap up this deep dive, while the internet is absolutely full of empty promises, Copywriting Launchpad proves that legitimate communities do exist.
But you have to be willing to do the work.
Exactly. You have to embrace blunt feedback, practice relentlessly, and do the unglamorous work of cold outreach. So for you listening, it's worth reflecting on your own learning journeys. Are you looking for a shortcut to the finish line, or are you looking for a better training facility to do the heavy lifting?
We've talked about how this community charges you to do the hard work. And it makes you wonder, in a world where AI can write an average piece of copy in 3 seconds, is the real value of a community like this no longer the writing itself, but the resilience and business acumen you build by constantly surviving blunt human rejection?
Wow, that is a deeply provocative thought to leave off on. If AI takes the writing, human resilience is the premium skill. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning, keep learning, and we will catch you on the next one.